Hello friends and welcome to my channel. I have quite the daunting task ahead of me in this video. I have been wanting to make this for quite some time. There is just something about ranking every season of Drag Race that sounds pretty great, but it also sounds like a pretty overwhelming task. So I've decided to limit myself a little bit here. I'm going to be ranking the 13 main seasons of Drag Race. So that means the All-Star seasons and the international seasons will not be included on this list. I thought that was the easiest way to do it. All-Stars is its own beast within itself. That I can kind of rank all those videos on, rank all those seasons in their own video. So if you do like this video, make sure you let me know if you would like to see me do All-Stars, because I have some feelings on those, but we have to get through 13 seasons of Drag Race US. Oh my goodness. A quick disclaimer because it is the internet. These are my personal feelings. If you do not agree with me, I'm sorry. Let me know your feelings down below. I want to know your ranking for every season. So I'm excited to dive into my rankings for every season of RuPaul's Drag Race. Kicking off this list is season 13. Is this a recency bias? Sure, maybe, but also if I just look back on this season, if I had to watch a season gun to my head, I would never pick season 13. I just do not look back on this fondly at all. Maybe it is the video I made where I'm just like calling out the production issues. Maybe it's just the Drag Race overwhelming feeling where you're just like so many seasons, so many queens, that by the time I got to season 13, I was already exhausted from UK2. I was trying to get ready for Down Under, and I'm just like, I do not have the mental capacity for this season. It also doesn't help that this season is coming out where they can't really promote themselves. So a couple of the newer seasons, I feel bad for the winners because I haven't been able to really see what they do with their crowning status. So that will kind of affect this a little bit. But when I go through not just the winner, that top 4 is not that great. I had the issues with the Candy Muse favoritism bias. I had the what the hell do they do to Denali in the edit. We had the stupid Tamisha Iman drama that I will never forget. Though Tamisha has gotten to her own drama outside of this season, I'm not a drama channel, so I'm not going to get into that, but it is kind of crazy to see that this season has overall started such a bickering between the fandom, and it's always been there, but something about season 13 ranks it so low for me. And again, it could be the circumstances around the season, and when I go look back on this in 3 years because I need a break, oh my goodness, I just watched a lot of these seasons for this video. So yeah, when I look back on season 13, I hope to rank it higher one day. I just can't get behind it at this moment. Number 12 on my list is season 10. I honestly forget this season exists sometimes. It was my bottom season for quite some time. It's because the very forgettable winner, the way they treated Vixen in that reunion, actually throughout the whole season, and overall, I kind of credit this as the last season that we all kind of collectively were into, and then from here it's gone down. Something about season 10, it could be that Sasha Velour ruined the finales, so this one had that crazy effect because, oh my goodness, that final episode is such a mess. Everyone doing reveals. You had the Asia O'Hara moment. You also had Karen Michaels and Eureka O'Hara in a final with Asia and Aquaria. What the hell is this final for? Again, no disrespect to any of those queens, but the structure of the show, what was presented, this is one of the weakest top 4s. And again, there's just so much more about this season that I have issues with, but at the same time, it has produced some very memorable queens, so you cannot deny that this does have an impact. I just can't get behind it as something I would want to rewatch, something I just look as a fan at, yeah, that's the moment where it started going downhill. Though, coming in at number 11 is season 1 of Drag Race. I just think this season is one of the weakest ones. It's because it's the older season, so it's before the show really perfected itself, but also it's just a messy season. You had the crazy way that they treated Tammy, and Tammy comes back on it in that reunion and snaps back, and I love that.
Your responsibility. Use your mouth.
but overall, you just had a very odd structure. You had some queens that were good, but then we started the horrible, like, trend of bringing somebody close to the finale that shouldn't be there. And yes, I'm talking about Miss Rebecca Glasscock, who is a fine queen, but oh my goodness, top three material? That makes no sense. I really like the winner of the season. I think BB was very strong. Nina Flowers is probably another great contender. That is a great top two, but I look at that top three and I look at like the way Chanel was handled and the way Santino and Merle would talk about Chanel. I look at Angina, who did well, but I never thought was handled amazingly. Then you had forgettable people like Akasha and Jade, who I enjoy, but like, do you really go back and go season one like, oh my goodness, I stan Akasha? Yes. No, other than like standing there with that glove that one time, no one really truly remembers some of these queens. So yeah, season one has the overall other like ugly production. It doesn't look the best either. So yeah, this season has to rank low. I just happen to dislike some a little bit more. I find 10 and 13 to just be a little bit tougher to watch. Number 10 on my list is season 11. This season has a lot of the tropes I do not like. The forced drama, that messy like lip sync that had like 8 goddamn people in it, and then all the wasted time on Vanjie and Brooklyn's relationship. Sure, I'm not the 13-year-old girl who writes fan fiction online, so this relationship between two drag queens, relationship, it's not for me, and I thought it just sucked the air out of the season. It had that whole, like, Brooklyn Vanjie stuff that like seeped into every episode. They had that lackluster final lip sync with each other. Overall, I just look at this season and it's clouded by that, but it's hard for me because I do enjoy Evie Oddly as a winner. I just feel like Evie didn't really get the best kind of arc through the season. I saw Evie walk in, I said, that could be a potential winner, and I didn't really feel that way until the very end when we got to the finale that I'm like, I guess it should be Evie, because God, I do not want it to be Silky. This is the one that has the most like beginning queens that I'm like, Honey Davenport, Raja, Sugar Canes on this season. Am I even right? Are these even the right people on this season? That's a problem with this one. It just has so many filler queens, and I try not to use that word as an insult. There's just people who the production doesn't shine a spotlight on, so they don't really like stick with me as much. And I'm like, okay, oh God, I really think about the Brooklyn Vanjie stuff, and that takes me down a path that really upset me. I think that is one of the laziest, stupidest angles we've ever done on this show. And sure, they maybe actually had a relationship. I still question that sometimes, because by the time that the reunion, those were separate people. They were like, I don't want anything to do with each other. So yes, I'm just sitting here thinking of like, when I watch this show, do I want a forced romance? Do I want yelling people drama? Do I want a lip sync that makes no sense? No, none of this sounds good. I can only think about Plastic Tiara's great wigs so many times until I'm like, what the hell's up with this season? Why did they do that to Nina West? Why is that No Scrubs lip sync one of the worst of all times? Why is that Una Noches Mas Waiting for Tonight lip sync so stupid? This season is a damn mess. Number 9 on my list is season 12. The reason this is in a weird spot, it's because I honestly think I would love this season if it didn't have the early pandemicness of it, which isn't great, but also the overall cloud that is Sherry Pie shaped. Oh my goodness, what a horrible thing to happen to this show. Not only did this person do some disgusting things, but it ruined a show that doesn't need any of that stuff. Like, I can't believe Sherry did that, and then to let it seep onto the show, to let it affect the edit of this season, which is why it's so hard for me to figure out how I feel. Yes, I love Crystal Method. Yes, I think Jada Essence Hall is one of my favorite winners. Yeah, there is a lot to enjoy, but you just have the dark cloud that is Sherry Pie that hangs over this, that we can't ever really understand the proper season because it was so edited in a different way after all the Sherry drama. So I'm just truly lost on this, but I do think they made the best out of that reunion finale that they could with the earliness of what was happening around our world. I also think the challenges were good. The political one was good. I think the makeover one was pretty strong from this season. There's a lot in here I do enjoy, and I do think that season 12 could have been better if it just had a stronger edit. And I do not blame the editors for this for once. This is not their fault. This is them having to go in later and really change around a season and really affect the overall final product of it. Number 8 on my list is Season 9. Season 9 is the season that I credit with the shift for Drag Race. Not only did the finale change up dramatically, but overall, this was a season where I started to notice the cracks in the edit, but they weren't as bad as they would be later on, so I would forgive a lot of it. But I see some of the Shay and Sasha drama that was there. I see how they handled people like James Manfield and Nino Bobina and the overall blah vibe.
Don't joke about that.
But then I can't deny that this season birthed people like Aja. It gave us Nino Bobina. It gave us James Mansfield. It gave us Shay. It gave us just great, memorable queens that we would enjoy. I love Peppermint. Peppermint has stayed to this day in my heart. It's one of my favorite queens. It gave us Trinity. This season has produced Drag Race like royalty now, and I truly do appreciate what it did. And there isn't a lot of issues here. I like a lot of the challenges. It gave me an iconic drama-filled moment with the Valentina mask stuff, but it didn't feel like the production force that just seemed to be what was happening in that moment with that queen and with the judges. So I really do enjoy the drama of it, and that has led to so much. I mean, hell, this gets the flack for being one of the nicer seasons that they didn't have a lot of drama, but I always kind of appreciated that. And then we get the reunion that has a lot of drama. It gives us the reunion for this season is maybe what pushed it so high, because it gave us the pheromone, you don't love me. It gave us fan favorite, yay, fan favorite. It gave us some pretty intense moments. I overall think back nicely on Season 9, but I also cannot deny that this is the one that like started the problem where every finale now has those ugly reveal outfits because Sasha Velour has ruined how we do a finale lip sync. So yes, I see that I enjoy this season. It's just a middle of the road one for me. Season 2 comes in at number 7 on my list. Another middle of the road season. I like Season 2. It's one of the older ones that I think is a growth from Season 1, but it's still not at the Drag Race that I love yet. It has a controversial winner, which is saying something about Tyra, now known as James. So yeah, the littler said about Tyra is the better, but Tyra was also an infamous character on the season. The way the season presented Tyra, it starts to show the favoritism that would be very apparent later on, but this was one of the earliest examples. But I look at Season 2 and I look at the iconic moments, the great drag race royalty that came from here. This season has people like Raven, Jujubee, Tatiana, the Pandora Box, just so many. Jessica Wilde is so cool. Yes, I really overall think very highly of Season 2. It's just not one that when I want to go rewatch it, I'm not like, yes, I can't wait to go through Season 2, because I don't really love all the challenges. Again, it's not where I want. Merle is still there, and I'm not a big fan of Merle as a judge. I think judging gets way better when Michelle gets there. Yeah, I like Season 2. I think it has a good winner at the time. I'm not one of those people that think Raven should have won over Tyra. Maybe now I feel that way, but at that moment I thought Tyra performed the best. This was a winner who I did not love the edit of this character. I did not love how it was presented, but I also cannot deny with my own eyes the amazingness. And it also led to the greatest wedding episode where everyone's in wedding gowns and just yelling at each other. I'm not talking to you.
I don't like you. I don't like you.
And I don't like you.
I love the Untucked, but this is also, yes, the first season with Untucked, and it has some great moments. Jujubee getting too drunk and crying and throwing off her lashes to then go sing Black Velvet. Yes, I like this season. I just, again, don't go rewatch it often. I would much rather just jump to Season 3 on if I'm doing my, like, series rewatch. It's just where I feel more comfortable. Again, Season 2 I respect, just don't love that much. My controversial entry, and I honestly would probably put it higher, but there's seasons I do enjoy more. Season 7 comes in at number 6. Oh my goodness, I love Season 7. This was one of my favorites for quite some time. It birthed Trixie and Katya, it had Violet Chachki, it had Ginger Minj. This was the first season where I got to see these performers live. I went out to Parliament House in Orlando. If you're from the Florida area, you know that was a badass club. So yes, I have a personal attachment to the season. I love it. I got all my roommates to watch it at the time. This was it. But at the same time, it is one of the most criticized seasons. I don't really know why. I think a lot of people would call it boring, but now I would look back at season 13, I'm like, y'all still think this is boring? You think 7 is boring? That, like, birthed legends, icons, and stars? Yeah, I love this. It has some great lip syncs. It has a really fun Snatch game. Go back and watch the Snatch game. You had Kennedy as oh my god, Little Richard.
Singing going on up in there, honey.
You had Ginger as Adele, Pearl as Big Ange. It's a good, like, Snatch game that I really remember, but overall, I like the vibe of this. I think it has one of my favorite first episodes, because that was the first one to do the double runways that are now a consistent motif in the US seasons. So this season is really where I see the modern Drag Race start popping up with, like I said, the first episode changing, with the overall structure, with how it would handle drama, with the top 4 being okay. Yeah, this is the first one that I'm like, I see what is happening. Again, is it one of my favorites of all time? I think it's a personal favorite of mine. Look, I have Trixie and Katya up here on my little Funko, so I cannot deny that I do really respect this season, but I also look back on it and go, okay, it isn't the most grandiose. From here on out, all the seasons I'm about to list after 7 are just bangers. It is just top to bottom insanity. 7 just misses that mark ever so slightly. Kicking off my top 5 is season 3, the season of the Heathers versus the Boogers, the season where Shangela came into her own as one of the greatest characters on reality show history. This has one of my favorite winners ever with Raja. This has some of the best drama. The Untucked, where it's just, I ain't never had a sugar daddy. If I wanted a sugar daddy, yes, I can go out and get one, because I am what? Sickening. That is one of the best moments ever. This is where I feel like the Queen started to use Untucked a little bit. Now, okay, there are some issues I have here with, boy, when you look back on this, Raja is an elitist bully, and it's kind of crazy. I really love Raja as a queen. I think Raja is one of the most deserving winners of the show, but wow, the way Raja would talk, actually, the way the whole Heathers would talk about people on this season, it's mind-blowing. But I mentioned the Heathers. You had Raja, Manila, like Delta, Carmen. You had some great people here. And then you had the boogers of the season with Alexis Mateo. You had Yara Sofia. You had some amazing people, like I said, Shangela. Shangela has grown to be one of the most infamous Drag Race queens of all time. But yes, overall, I really do respect season 3. I had such a blast with it. I remember watching it in its original run and going, this show's special. It wouldn't be to another season where I would be birthed as the diehard fan. We will talk about that in a moment. But season 3 is where I really started to see the potential. I had the most fun with this. I was starting to go, okay, I liked season 1 and season 2, but season 3, you got me hooked. It was the drama. It was the challenge. It was the runways. It was something about this. It was such an artistic, creative season. I think there's so many design challenges in this season, which is my favorite part of Drag Race. If you notice, the seasons I like are either design heavy or it's just heavy, memorable queens, and it's just some crazy stuff. This season has a lot of designs and a lot of memorable challenges. This is what we need. These are queens that we all remember. Season 3, go back and watch it. You'll realize this is one of the best ever. Number 4 on my list is season 6. I really love season 6. One of the best tops I have ever seen. No, not Bianca Del Rio. I don't know what Bianca is. I don't think a top. Maybe. Who knows? But yes, just one of the best tops I've seen in this group. One of my favorite overall just vibes. I love every challenge. I love every queen. I love every episode. This is one I've actually just started rewatching ever since they put them on Paramount, and going through season 6, it feels very comfortable. Something about Bianca, Adored, Courtney, all these people, they feel like our old friends. There's something really comfortable at this season, and I look back and I'm like, sure, I hated the way they treated Laganja and Gia and some of the other queens, but I think Trinity's growth on this season is one of my favorites. This is one I just highly recommend. If you're like, I don't know, if you're like wanting to rewatch a season or wanting to introduce someone to Drag Race, I would start with here or maybe another season right before. We will talk about that Oh my goodness, cannot wait to talk about 5. But yes, truly, I think season 6 has one of the best winners, some of the best challenges, one of my favorite, like, top groups of people. We had people like Ben de la Creme and Darian do some amazing lip syncs against each other. Ben de la Creme would go on to be a crazy, crazy memorable queen. This is the seasons that I'm like, these seasons birthed queens that are icons. Ben de la Creme, Bianca Del Rio, Courtney, even though the Drag Race community doesn't really like to acknowledge Courtney, but yes, people like Adore. There's just so much from this season. Hell, even Jocelyn Fox is someone I just love. Yeah, this is one that I really highly recommend. Just go back, watch, have a good time with it. It's so fun. It's why it ranks pretty high, because this is just a simple, easy season with a strong winner that you could call from the very beginning, with just a lot to enjoy. That horror episode where they do the slasher movies, love that so much. Just love this one so much. Oh my god, I can go and just think about season 6 and it just makes me so happy, but there's seasons I do enjoy more. My top 3 starts with season 8. Bob the Drag Queen is one of my favorite winners of Drag Race history, but I also got Naomi Smalls, Kim Chi, those 3 in general, Bob, Naomi, and Kim are some of the best queens ever. But yeah, I really look back on season 8 and I enjoy it a lot. Do I love the Derek Barry drama-ness of the season? No, but I do think Derek Barry played a great villain that I was genuinely interested in watching. I was just like, oh my god, how is Derek still here? Like, I was sucked into this. And again, sometimes I do think some queens get Rebecca Glasscocked, where they just are kind of dragged through and they shouldn't be here. But, like, I don't know, I don't know. Just Derek was one I enjoyed watching be a hot mess. But yes, going back, we had Bob the Drag Queen doing some amazing things. We had that one Empire Challenge. We had a great Snatch Game here. Go back and watch the Snatch Game. Another really fun one. Just overall, back-to-back, some great runways, some amazing things. Having to follow up season 7 and having to go before season 9, it's not easy. I think this is a forgotten season for so many people. Would I have ranked this higher if I didn't just rewatch this? I don't know, because it doesn't live in my memory as much as, like, I haven't seen season 6, in some time until my rewatch, and I was just still high up on it. But season 8, when I recently rewatched it, I realized this is one of the best seasons and one of the last of the old Drag Race. This is before I feel the show completely shifted into something different, so I hold 8 very fondly in my heart. Top 2 time, and if you've done your math, you know who are going to be up here, but what are the order? Number 2 is season 4. This is when the show came into its own. This has the best craziness. The Fifi O'Hara drama with Sharon Needles, insanity. Just overall, just Sharon in general is a controversial, crazy figure, but at the time, that was one of my favorite winners. I'm an ookie spooky kid. I have a Funko shelf full of horror characters. I absolutely went nuts for Sharon, but it's not just Sharon on this season. This is when I really felt the show got into its own, where I just was like, oh, this is it. We had Latrice Royale, Fifi, we had some amazing filler queens in the beginning. I'm not gonna say everyone on the season, like, who really loves Madame LaQueer? Who really is like, oh my god, like, Dita Ritz is my girl, yes, yes, yes. Yeah, no one's really like, oh my goodness, this is the greatest season ever. But I just really look back fondly. I love the challenges. I love just the whole vibe of this one. I don't know what it is about season 4, but I just remember this being such a moment in time. I remember falling in love with Sharon. I remember all of us just being so sucked into this drama, and it really did birth some diehard fans. There's one season that we have left to talk about that I really feel like this show exploded and became the thing, but season 4, it's a simple season. There's not too much flair and fluff to it, but it's just the right amount of old school Drag Race and new school Drag Race to suck anyone in. Again, do I love Sharon as a queen now? No, she's definitely went down on my list of winners, and when I rank the winners, Sharon will be an interesting one to place. Oh god, much like Tyra, where do you place the controversial ones? But yes, overall, I really do think season 4 is a strong season that is one of the most entertaining to watch from start to finish. This is one as well, much like season 6, if you just want someone to have a good time with Drag Race without the context, without the whole baggage of the crazy fandom, this is a good one to start off with because it's so fun, so easy to watch, and has so many memorable moments. I can feel the comments coming already. How is season 5 my favorite? Well, look, this season is what birthed so many of us as super fans. We were sucked into the Rolaska Tux drama. We were all rooting for Jinx. We loved Detox's little mouth things. We fell in love with, smaller queens like Lanesha Sparks from the season, J. Jolie. This was a season a lot of us very much really love. This is one that has some of the best challenges, some of the best runways, some of the most memorable queens. You want to talk about a season that has produced legends? Half of the season is on goddamn All-Stars 2 because it's just that good. Yes, this season has so much. The Alyssa and Coco drama, that is just legendary. They have tried to recapture that infamous drama so many times. Do you remember the Derek Barry, India Farah drama from All-Stars ago? Yeah, no. That is all based on what this tried to do. This is one of the best dramas. I mean, Alyssa Edwards produced some of the best lip syncs. You had the wig reveal with Roxy Andrews. Iconic. You had so many amazing moments. The roasts here, the jokes, the comedy, the Jinx Monsoon of it all. Wow, Jinx, what a winner. Someone who I didn't appreciate Jinx when Jinx was on the show. I was pure Team Alaska, but now looking back, Jinx really needed to win this season. This was purely Jinx's season to win. So yes, when I look back on season 5, I just think this is one of the best, simplest, easiest to watch, the most joy I get, the most polished as well, because this is the weird thing about polish for me. This isn't the overproduced, very fake feeling reality show that we have now on Drag Race, but this isn't as messy as season 3. Season 5 is exactly the reality TV gold I miss. There has not been a season since 5 that I have felt this way about, that had just made me just invested. The drama, which I'm not a big fan of, I was sucked into it. Some of the crazy moments, I was like, oh my goodness, let's talk about this. The Untucked of this season, the everything, oh my goodness. Go back and watch season 5. One of the easiest, best, most fun seasons to watch. I love it so much. The finales, the greatness, the wow lip sync. Oh my goodness. I love season 5 so much. I hope you do too. Well, that was my very long video where I decided to rank every season of Drag Race that is a main season. Oh boy, see, this is why I didn't include All-Stars. This video would be 84 minutes and it would be like a Zack Snyder movie where I have to do chapter cards and everything. No, so this is why I wanted to do the main seasons. What do you think of my ranking? Are you in agreement with me? Do I have the weirdest ranking of Drag Race seasons of all time? I hope I do. I hope I gave you guys something original, something a little bit different to feast into. I want to know your rankings. If you follow my videos, you know I will answer every comment. So let me know what you think are the best seasons down below. If you don't want to rank everything, at least give me your top 3 seasons. I need to know. I want to know if my top 3 are anyone else's top 3. So let me know down in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel and make sure you guys give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. All right, everyone, let's talk about your Drag Race rankings down below.